Why was I born different? The little boy sat alone behind the school building, trying to hide his tears as the sounds of laughter echoed across the playground. Ghost boy. White skin. Stay away from him. The cruel words pierced his heart like arrows. He looked down quietly at his pale hands and wondered what crime he had committed simply by being born an albino. Every day was another battle. Another insult. Another lonely moment. But hidden inside that broken little boy was a greatness the world could not yet see. And one day, the same people who mocked him would stand in shock before his success. Because destiny has a strange way of surprising those who judge others too quickly. Before we continue this emotional and inspiring story, kindly like, share, comment, and subscribe to Elvis the Great Stories, more powerful African stories filled with drama, life lessons, suspense, love, and inspiration. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss another amazing story. In a small township in South Africa lived a young albino boy named Ethan Mokoena. Ethan was intelligent, calm, and kind-hearted. But life was not easy for him. From childhood, people treated him differently because of his skin. Children in school laughed at him. Some refused to sit near him. Others called him painful names that made him cry silently at night. Even adults sometimes stared at him strangely whenever he walked through the streets. Ethan slowly became quiet and withdrawn. He preferred spending time alone. Books became his best friends. Computers became his safe place. Whenever the world rejected him, technology welcomed him without judgment. But among all the children in school, there was one girl who never mocked him. Her name was Amara Daniels. Amara was cheerful, kind, and fearless. While other children laughed at Ethan, she defended him boldly. One afternoon during lunch break, some boys surrounded Ethan and began mocking him again. But suddenly, Amara stepped forward angrily. "Leave him alone." The boys laughed. "Why are you always protecting him?" Amara looked directly at them. "Because he is human like all of us." The boys walked away reluctantly. Ethan stared at her in surprise. Nobody had ever defended him before. That day changed everything. As the years passed, Ethan and Amara became inseparable. They walked to school together. Studied together. Laughed together. Whenever Ethan felt rejected by the world, Amara reminded him that he was special. One evening, while sitting under a tree after school, Ethan asked quietly, "Amara, do you ever feel ashamed walking with me?" Amara looked shocked. "Why would I?" "Because people always stare at me." Amara smiled softly. "Let them stare. You are one of the smartest and kindest people I know." For the first time in many years, Ethan smiled confidently. Deep inside his heart, he had started falling in love with her. And unknown to him, Amara loved him too. Years later, something painful happened. Amara's father received a job opportunity in another city. Her family had to relocate immediately. The news broke Ethan's heart. The evening before she left, they met one final time near their favorite tree. Tears filled Amara's eyes. "I don't want to leave." Ethan forced a weak smile. "You have to follow your family." "But promise me something," Amara said emotionally. "What is it?" "Promise me you will never stop believing in yourself." Ethan nodded slowly. "I promise." They hugged each other tightly. Neither of them knew that life was about to separate them for many years. The next morning, Amara left. And Ethan's world became lonely again. As Ethan grew older, his love for technology became stronger. He spent countless hours learning about computers, software, telecommunications, digital networks, electronics. Even without expensive resources, Ethan continued teaching himself. People still mocked him sometimes. But this time, Ethan no longer allowed their words to destroy him. Because he had discovered something powerful. Purpose. One day, Ethan created a small communication software that helped local businesses manage customer networks more efficiently. The project became successful. Soon, investors began noticing his talent. Years later, Ethan founded his own telecommunications company. And shockingly, the company exploded across Africa. His innovations transformed digital communication in several countries. The poor albino boy who was once mocked in school became one of the youngest billionaires in South Africa. Suddenly, the world that once rejected him began celebrating him. Newspapers published his story. Television stations invited him for interviews. The same people who once laughed at him now praised him publicly. But Ethan never became proud. Pain had taught him humility. One evening, Ethan attended a business conference in Johannesburg. As he walked through the crowded hall, somebody suddenly called his name softly. Ethan. He turned around slowly. And froze. It was Amara. Older. More beautiful. But still carrying the same warm smile he remembered from childhood. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Years of memories flooded back instantly. Amara's eyes became emotional. You really did it. Ethan smiled softly. You were the first person who believed in me. Amara laughed gently through tears. And you were the boy everyone underestimated. They spent hours talking that night. It felt as though time had never separated them. The connection between them remained strong. Even stronger than before. As months passed, Ethan and Amara grew close again. This time, nothing could separate them. Amara admired the man Ethan had become. Intelligent. Humble. Compassionate. Strong. And Ethan never forgot the little girl who stood beside him when nobody else cared. One evening, Ethan took Amara to a beautiful hill overlooking the city lights. The cold wind blew gently around them. Ethan looked into her eyes emotionally. When the world rejected me, you saw value in me. Amara smiled softly. Because your light was always impossible to hide. Ethan held her hands carefully. I loved you from the very beginning. Tears filled Amara's eyes. I never stopped loving you too. Under the shining South African night sky. Ethan proposed. And Amara said yes. Their wedding became one of the most talked about events in South Africa. Many former classmates attended. Some could not even look Ethan in the eyes because of shame. They remembered how they mocked him as a child. Now the same boy stood before them as a billionaire, respected across Africa. But Ethan held no hatred in his heart. He welcomed everyone peacefully. Because success had healed the wounds bitterness could never heal. Years later, Ethan created foundations that helped children living with albinism across Africa. He spoke openly against bullying and discrimination. One day during an interview, a reporter asked him, what message would you give to children who feel rejected because they are different? Ethan became silent for a moment. Then he smiled softly. Never allow the opinions of people to define your future. He looked at Amara lovingly. The world may laugh at you today. But one day, they may celebrate the greatness they once ignored. Then he faced the camera directly. And tell me, how many stars are hiding in darkness simply because nobody believes in them? How many beautiful destinies are suffering because of cruelty and rejection? And what if the person you mock today becomes the person the world admires tomorrow? Please share your thoughts on this great story and subscribe for more amazing stories like this.